Hello, welcome to Lesson 7 from my book, Babette's Quick Start Guide to Theory for Fiddlers, Book 1. My name is Babette, and this lesson is about the most important note in the scale. In Lessons 5 and 6, we talked about major scales and learned how to play the scales in the keys of G, D, and A. Every note in the scale can be assigned a number, and every note in the scale has a solfege symbol. The most important note in the scale is the first note. That's the same note as the name of your scale. If you are in the key of G, the most important note, the first note, is G. This is also called Do. It's also called the first degree of the scale. It's also called the tonic of the scale, and it sets the tone. So the way to remember the word tonic is that it sets the tone of the scale. Many of the pieces you play will begin or end on the tonic of the scale. Most of the music you hear and play will begin and end on the 1 chord. So let's talk about the key of G a little further. Remember, G, the most important note, the first degree, Do, or the tonic, is G. By the same token, the 1 chord in the key of G is a G chord. And one thing to remember, that every G you can play on your violin in the key of G is 1. In the key of D, the most important note, the first degree, D, the tonic, is D. The 1 chord in the key of D is a D chord, and every D that you can play on the violin would then be a 1. This also falls through for the key of A that we played. The most important note, the first degree, Do, the tonic in the key of A is A. The 1 chord in the key of A is an A chord, and every A that you can play is 1. See, the lesson was short. Now let's take a look at the worksheet and see if we can answer these questions. Okay, let's take a look at the answers for the worksheet on most important note in the scale. Number 1, what is the most important note in the scale? Well, that is the first note. Number 2, what words out of the following describe the most important note in the scale? Is it the first degree? Yes. Tonic? Yes. First note? Yes. Do? Yes. So all of those do. Number 3, what is the most important note in the key of G? The most important note is G. In the key of D, the most important note is D. In the key of A, the most important note is A. And in the key of E, the most important note is E. Number 4, what is the 1 chord in the key of G? The 1 chord in the key of G is G. Now for the review questions. Number 1, you are playing in the key of A. How many sharps are there? There are 3 sharps. How do we know that? Because If you are in G, it is 1 sharp. If you are in D, it's 2 sharps. And if you are in A, it's 3 sharps. And what are those sharps? Well, we know that the first sharp is always F sharp. The second sharp is C sharp, and the third sharp is G sharp. Question 2. Fourth finger on the D string is the same as what? Fourth finger on the D string is the same as your open A. Question 3. Fill in the blanks in the chart below. For D, we have open. Then we have a W for whole step. Next to E should be a 1. Then we have whole step. Next to the 2 should be F sharp. And then in the blank spot should be an H for half step. Next to the G we have a 3. Then we have a whole step. Next to the A should be 4 or open. And we have a whole step. In the next column, next to the number 1 should be a B. And then should be a W for whole step. A C sharp is a 2, a half step, and next to the D is 3. Bonus points if you can tell me what key this is. Well, of course, it's in the key of D.